Single dad waiter dines alone, until the millionaire woman whispers, "Pretend I'm your wife." If you've ever felt invisible in a crowded room, stay with me, because what happened at table 7 changed 2 lives forever. The diner hummed with clinking cutlery and tired conversations, the kind that settle into your bones after a long day. Daniel Reyes sat alone during his break, shoulders slumped, staring at a plate he hadn't touched. At 34, he looked older, his eyes carried the weight of late nights and early mornings. The badge on his apron read Daniel, but most customers didn't read it. They rarely did. A single dad. A waiter by day. A father by every hour in between. His phone buzzed. A picture of his daughter, Mia, popped up, her toothy grin smeared with ice cream from last weekend. The daycare bill was due tomorrow. Rent in 3 days. Daniel exhaled slowly, pushing the plate away. Hunger could wait. That's when she sat down, not across from him, beside him. "Pretend I'm your wife," the woman whispered, barely moving her lips. Daniel stiffened, heart jumping like he'd been caught doing something wrong. He turned. She was composed, elegant, early 40s maybe, hair pinned neatly, eyes sharp but kind. She wore a simple navy dress, nothing flashy, yet it somehow commanded the room. What?" he whispered back. "Please," she said, eyes flicking toward the front window. "Just for a minute." Outside, a man in an expensive suit paced on the sidewalk, phone pressed to his ear, anger rolling off him in visible waves. He glanced inside, searching. Daniel swallowed. "Ma'am, I'm on break." "And I don't." She slid a folded napkin toward him. On it, written in neat handwriting, was one sentence: "He won't take no for an answer." The suited man's gaze locked onto their booth. "Just smile," she murmured. "Hold my hand." Daniel's instincts screamed to stand up, to walk away. But then he thought of Mia, how he'd want someone to help her if she ever needed it. He nodded once. He smiled. Took her hand. The man outside froze, confusion flashing across his face as he saw them lean close. The woman laughed softly, resting her head against Daniel's shoulder like it belonged there. After a tense moment, the man scoffed and walked away, heels sharp against the pavement. Silence fell between them. She released Daniel's hand immediately. "Thank you," she said, voice steady but eyes shining with something close to relief. "I'm Claire." "Daniel," he replied, still processing what just happened. "You okay?" She nodded. "I am now." Daniel stood, clearing his throat. "I should get back." "Of course." She hesitated. "Can I repay you?" "Dinner." "Coffee." He smiled politely. "I appreciate it, but I can't. I've got a little girl waiting at home." Claire paused. "A daughter." He nodded. "Everything I do is for her." Something softened in her expression. "Then maybe let me help you," she said gently. Daniel laughed, shaking his head. "I'm just a waiter, Miss Claire." She smiled, eyes bright. "And I'm just a woman who needed a kind stranger today." They parted like that, no promises, no expectations, but fate had other plans. 3 days later, Daniel's manager pulled him aside mid-shift. "Private event tonight," he said. "High-end. Big tips if you do well." Daniel nodded, tying his apron tighter. Tips meant groceries. Meant breathing room. The banquet hall glittered with chandeliers and polished marble. Guests arrived in tailored suits and gowns, voices smooth with confidence. Daniel kept his head down, doing what he always did: serve, smile, move on. Then he heard her voice, "Daniel." He turned. Claire stood near the head table, this time in a sleek black suit, posture commanding. Beside her, people hovered with respect. "You," he stopped himself. "Claire." She smiled. "I was hoping it was you." The manager hurried over, suddenly nervous. "Mr. Reyes has been excellent," he said quickly. Claire nodded. "I know." Daniel blinked. "You know." She leaned closer. "I own the company hosting tonight." The room seemed to tilt. He trailed off, "a CEO." "Some call me a millionaire," she said lightly. "But that's not why I'm here." She glanced around, then back at him. "I'd like to talk, after your shift." Daniel hesitated. He thought of the gap between their worlds. Of how small his problems must seem to someone like her. Still, when his shift ended, he found himself sitting across from Claire in the now empty hall, hands folded, heart pounding. "I did some asking," she said gently. About you. About Mia. Daniel tensed. I don't want charity. I know, Claire replied. That's why I'm not offering it. She slid a folder across the table. I'm opening a community cafe. Fair wages. Flexible hours. I need someone who understands people. Someone who shows up even when it's hard. Daniel stared at the folder. You barely know me. I know you didn't hesitate to help a stranger, she said. I know you put your child before yourself. And I know you deserve more than surviving. Tears burned his eyes. I don't want pity. Claire reached across the table, not touching this time. This isn't pity. It's opportunity. Weeks later, Daniel unlocked the cafe doors for the first time, with Mia perched on a stool behind the counter, swinging her legs and grinning. Claire stood beside him, sleeves rolled up. Ready, partner? She asked. He smiled, stronger now. Ready. Sometimes, life doesn't change with a grand gesture, sometimes, it starts with a whisper.